Hi everybody, welcome to chapter 4, module 4, and we're going to be starting on page 187. Uh, First, let's start with the overview. So if you're looking at the overview on page 188 and 189, we're going to look at a number of graphs. You can see from the graph on the bottom left-hand side called Consumer Preferences that it has data labels, and we're going to go into that in detail. We're going to look at different types of charts or graphs. We're going to look at tables like we could see at the top. And we're also going to look at alternate types of graphs like you could see on the right-hand side. We're going to look at bar charts and pie charts and so on. And we are under the Design tab like you see up at the top. So let's start off with financial functions on page 190. So I'm sure that you've seen something similar to this. A car, it says hot dog car, 0 down, $12,000. Now you probably saw it for a truck or something, but it's the same concept. Here, let's make it fancy. There we go. Okay, so we are going to look at the PMT function. Now it's really important to carefully read through the text on page 190. And it's basically going to tell you that there are three parts to the payment function. We have the principal. So the principal is the amount of the total loan, and in our case, that would be $12,000. Okay, the next part that we need is the interest. In other words, how much is this loan going to cost us? And according to the ad, it says 6% per year. And the other question is, how long is the loan going to be? Right. So in our case, we're going to say the term is 5 years. Okay. And just by doing a little quick math, we'll do equals 5 years times 12 months, and we're going to get 60 months. And I'm sure you've seen something similar to this, probably with a different kind of car, but that's the general idea, right? We want to know what the purchase price is, how much the interest rate is going to be, and how long do we have to pay it off. Now, it's actually not going to cost us $12,000. It's going to cost us $12,000 plus 6% of $12,000 over 5 years. Now, we could figure out what that is, and we could do this in many different ways, like monthly and so on, by using the payment function. Okay, so you'll note it says in the text, so in our case we have 6%, and it's paid monthly. We would take 1/12 of 6%. So let's figure out what that is. We'll take 6% and divide it by 12. So we get 0.5% per month. This is our monthly. And the term is going to be 60 months. Our principal is 12,000. Okay, so using these variables, we know that this is 60 months or 5 years. Okay, and this is all the information that we have right now. Now we want to figure out what is our monthly payment going to be. Keep in mind that over the 5 years of the loan, the car payment is not going to change. The interest rate is not going to change. Okay, so let's take a look at what that is. So let's start. We put in PMT, which says calculates the payments for a loan based on constant payments with a constant interest rate. Okay, and the first thing we put in is what's the rate? So let's put in 0.06, which is 6% divided by 12, because it's over 12 months. Next, we're going to say how long is the loan, which is going to be 5 times 12. And then finally, how much is the total value of the loan? Okay, now we could also add, if we want to get the loan to 0, that's the FV value, or the type, but we're not going to put that in right now. Now we're just going to end it like this, hit enter, and it tells us that the loan is going to be $231 a month. So just to review the steps, which you could see on page 191, we put in payment, we put in the interest rate, divided by 12, which is going to give us this number, the 0.5% per month. Then we put in 5 times 12, that's how equals 60 to get our number of months, and 12,000 is the principal. Okay, now what would happen if we took this number? So we did equals 231.99 times 60, and we deducted from this number our principal, we would get the total amount of interest, right? So this would be our monthly payment, $231.99, which is a great price for the hot dog car. The $13,919.40 is our total cost for the loan, and this is the interest amount that we have on the loan. So, seeing the payment function, you should be able to do the example on page 191 and 192 and 193 using the example of from the textbook, which is called Backspace Gear. And you can get that in the folder with all the files, Winter 2018 files, or wherever your files are. Okay, so we could use this a number of different ways. Like if you look at figure 4-4 on page 194, we have the completed cash flow project worksheet that we could see how much our loan, the cost of money, is going to be over X number of years. Okay, so I'm actually going to end this video right now, just so we could have a separate video for financial calculations. And if you review the text from 190 to 194, you will get a good idea of how this works. So I'll just review one more time what we did, and I'll just move these over, and I'm going to be posting these in Moodle. Okay, so let's take a look. We had our principal is $12,000 that I got from the ad. We have 6% annual percentage rate, our interest, and we figured out what that was monthly, 0.5%. Our term was 5 years times 12 months, and we got 60. Now, we could also do this by loans that we pay in quarters or annually, but the calculation would be different because we wouldn't be dividing by 12. We'll be dividing by 4 or 1, depending on what kind of loan it is. Now, our formula is equals PMT, and then the first thing we put in was the rate. And the rate, in our case, was 0.06 divided by 12, giving us our 0.5% per month. Then we did the 5 times 12, the term, and then finally the amount. The PV is our total loan. We hit enter, and I got $231.99 per month. That would be my loan payment. You'll notice it's a negative number, so I have it formatted right now in red brackets, but we could change it to negative as well. All right, so this would be my payment. Now, I wanted to know what is the total cost of the loan. Right, so I did $231.99 multiplied by 60, which is the term of the loan, and I got $13,919.04. And this includes a certain amount of interest, which is why this number is bigger than this number. And I said, let's try to figure out what that cost is. Okay, and I took the $13,919.40 and deducted $12,000, and the balance was $1,919.40, and that was the interest cost that I'm going to pay over the 5 years. And we can keep on going with this. We could take this cost and divide it by 60. Again, this is all being equal. Usually it's not. And I'll say, okay, so out of my $231.99 per month, I'm spending $31.99 in interest, right? But it's important to understand that in most loans, in many loans, the amount of principal and the amount of interest varies per month. And we're going to get more into that later, right? It changes, it's not always fixed according to just these numbers. But in our simplified example, this will give you an idea of how to do these calculations. And that will do it for 4.1. I suggest work through the examples in the textbook to get a handle on exactly how this works.